American homestead.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Shane Thompson. This is my farm. We have been in the farmer's market, not business because I don't make any money, but we have been in the farmer's market business for the 4th year. Jamie is actually one of our founding vendors. Yeah, she's been here all 4 years.
Yep.
When she initially showed up, in fact, we saw a picture just the other day, she had one table, one little table, and a few soaps, and that was about it. And
so
today you're in how many?
We're in 27 stores. That's across the state. We're in some Kansas. We're coming to one in Missouri. We're in 27 different stores across the state. We're in Coffeyville, Kansas, and then we're also going to be in Missouri here before the end of next month. And then we have 2 new ones that are coming online. The spa that's in Bixby, and then Gasoline Alley Classics and Sepulpa on Route 66, which we're pretty excited about that. He and his wife came through the Affair of the Heart, and he came through the Affair of the Heart and was really excited to see if we could make something special for him. And then we've got another collaboration with the Old West Buffalo Company in Pawhuska that we're working on. So we're going to make some custom soaps around their Buffalo exhibit. They've got a really cool venue there.
Which you're already actually in Willow Rock, correct?
We were in Willow Rock for a while, but as you guys will find out as you get into stores, a lot of times people get greedy and they will price your product way more than you would ever price your product for. And they price you right out of being in their location. They were charging $15 a piece for our bars of soap, which is absolute highway robbery. And I told them that. I said, I cannot believe that you are trying to sell a bar of soap for $15. And it's my soap. And I told him, I said, I cannot believe that y'all are doing that. You want to know why the product isn't moving? It's because you've got a $15 price tag on a bar of soap. Well, I don't know what to tell you. And I said, well, I kind of cut my ties there.
Well, that's one of the things is for years I did something completely different. In the last 4 years I've switched over. I'm now a buyer for a chain of convenience stores. So I come in with that little bit of knowledge and to help you guys figure out profits and margins and wholesale prices and things like that. Because that's what I do now. I'm a buyer. So what I do is evaluate products, I evaluate pricing, I evaluate our retails from wholesale, and we determine what we're going to do with products. Now, with the upcoming new laws that are going to affect, items that are normally sold at specifically at farmers markets or at other locations, like we'll discuss here in a minute, are now going to be able to be sold in retail stores. Things made at home will be able to go to retail locations.
Which we're super excited for.
Right, we've worked for 2 years
Yeah.
Amongst a whole bunch of other people working together to get these laws passed. It's not perfect, but it is something
it's better than nothing at this
point. A lot
point.
better than it was.
Yeah.
Exactly. So basically that's kind of what I do. And my first part, Jamie's the big deal, not me.
I'm not a big deal.
But let me, I guess I go back to it. I get sidetracked. We started this 4 years ago, once a month, and we did a farmer's market. When I moved out, we do ours in the evening because I oversleep. And so I always miss everything. So we decided to do it in the evening. So we run from 4 to 8. We don't charge anybody anything to sell here. The reason we do that, it's our property. We're already paying to live here. No sense doing that. Our whole mission of the farmer's market is to develop a community and to promote healthier foods, lifestyle, teaching people to grow. We had a homestead expo,
which was incredible. If y'all didn't
back
get to
in
come,
March, I believe, wasn't
awesome.
it? March, we had a homestead expo with 800 people out here. We had 4 different training locations going on throughout the entire day.
And a setup for vendors as well.
And
vendors
setup,
got
correct,
to come in and set up. And
yeah, and we'll do that again. We just haven't set a date yet. So that is another thing coming. But this is what it's all for us is we're no longer just people that come here and sell. It's a family atmosphere. Our kids know each other. You know, everyone knows. I mean, we just did Denise's birthday the other day. They had a cake. No one told me there was cake.
So you didn't get to eat?
I didn't get any cake.
Was this Saturday? I didn't get any either.
I know, but you know how it is. I'm running 100 miles an hour. So, but I did have your green beans and potatoes with our roast last night. It was wonderful. So, guys, we set this up. This is, obviously a free training. We just want to be able to share what knowledge we have to help you guys make better decisions and to be able to figure out how to move the next steps into your business. Because each one of you we consider as a business owner, regardless of what you're selling, what you're making, or what you're growing. So we're going to kind of go over some of the items and to really figure your costs. Because one of the biggest issues that I see in the market in my 4 years, and that's not very long, but it's long enough to start noticing trends, is that a lot of people sell stuff, but they don't pay themselves. Yes. So they will set aside, they'll okay, I can make this item for $1. I'm gonna sell it for $2. That's 50% margin. Okay, but how long did it take you to do it? How much time and effort and your talent is required to do that? So that's one of the critical things that we got to look at is when we're focusing on your business is determining your value, not just within the marketplace, but determining your value for your item itself. On our website, and if you guys haven't been to our website yet, it's hillsidefarmskytook.wordpress.com.
What?
Did you get that?
Yeah.
I'll go slow. Hillside Farm Skytook, SKIATOOK, .wordpress.
WordPress?
Yeah, all one word, WORDPRESS.com. And if you go to there, you can click on the link that says Farm to Market. On Farm to Market, I have created, I have 4 things on there right now. I have 3 worksheets that you can download and use for your own business. These worksheets will help you figure your contribution to gross. They'll help you to figure your profit margin. They'll help you to figure out your, what was my other one? Contribution to gross, profit margin, and your true cost.
Evaluating competitors,
Yeah.
pricing.
So these are all worksheets. All the mathematics are done for you. You literally just plug in your numbers and it'll calculate it for you. If you have problems, let me know. I'll fix it and send it back out. Because sometimes when you download, they get loaded to another computer. It's an Excel spreadsheet, super easy. We can go through and we'll kind of discuss that as we go. So that's kind of who I am and what I'm going to cover. Jamie's going to cover all the good stuff because she's the expert.
I'm pretty sure they want to make money, so I'm pretty sure that you got the good
Yeah,
stuff.
but I just tell you what the money is. She tells you how to make the money.
Well, I'm Jamie with Solid Rock Soap. I'm very, very humbled to get to be here. When Shane asked me to do this, I felt highly underqualified, but I love being able to share anything that I know with everybody else just because you only have to be one step ahead of somebody to be able to help them. And that's how I look at where I'm at. I've been doing this for 4 years, so I'm literally just one step ahead. That's all it is.
Like 4 steps ahead of some. But it's all about getting the start. And see, that's the funny thing about the way we work our market. Sometimes you'll go to places, then there'll be a soap seller or a baker or something along the lines, and they'll say, no, we can't have any more. No, we already have one. But my thought on it is a true free market. I believe in free market. I believe that you are responsible not to shareholders, you're responsible to your customer. As a business owner, that's who you got to rely on. They're the ones funding everything. They're the ones taking care of you. You got to take care of them back. So,
and when you look in the natural market that's out there anyway, you look in the commercial market, Walmart isn't going to just say, oh, we only have Coca-Cola products. So Pepsi and everybody else, we're not going to carry your stuff.
They would like that.
They
would love that.
That would be great. But it doesn't help you. I remember when we first started that competition used to terrify me because I had such a small value placed on my own product. I still looked at it as just something I made on my kitchen counter. And it wasn't, to me, it wasn't anything spectacular. I make it all day, every day. And so I didn't put the value on my product that there should be. And so other vendors that made soap scared me to death. I would lose sleep. And Bart was like, well, honey, why? I'm like, well, I don't know. What if my stuff isn't good enough? He's like, well, who's telling you your stuff isn't good enough? I said, nobody. I said, well, then stop. My husband, who's not here tonight, he's with our other kids at home. really helps keep me grounded.
Yeah.
So
She still doesn't give him a big chair, though.
he, you know, he
She has
sits
a
in the
really
big
tall
chair.
chair. He doesn't get to use
He
it.
doesn't get the throne.
I also noticed you made him wear a collared shirt while he was moving stuff today. That's not right.
No, he put that on. I'm like, wear a tank top. He's like,
So,
nah.
one thing about Jamie and her business, and what you probably don't know, is she is recently, this is their sole income now.
This is what we do for a living.
They have made it to that point where her husband was able to leave his full-time job and do this full-time.
Absolutely the most terrifying decision I think we've ever made. We have 4 children that are still at home. We homeschool. And that was absolutely, like, we knew it was coming. We knew that he was going to put his notice in. I didn't have a day. He told me I have a date. He emails me that morning at 3 a.m. when he was at work and said, things just got real, baby. I just put in my notice. I thought I was going to throw up. I was like, oh my gosh. How are we going to pay the bills? How are we going to pay the house payment? How are we going to have insurance? How are we going to, you know, as a woman, that's what we think about. That's our security. And then I thought, oh Lord, all this depends on me. Ooh. What if I'm not good enough? What if I can't make enough money to pay the bills? So the what ifs start happening. So one of the things I'm going to touch on when we talk tonight is believing in yourself. Because if you don't believe in what you do and what you have, you will not make it. You absolutely won't have the drive behind you to push through the hard days. And there will be hard days. There will be days where you want to quit. This has been the worst year for goats that we've ever had in the whole time that we've owned goats. We've lost 6 goats this year. I have never lost that many animals in the entire time that we've had animals. And that means babies to full-grown adults. We've never had that happen. I held one of our babies not too long ago and watched him die in my arms, and I looked at Bart and I said, why is everything so hard? And he hugged me with tears in his eyes. His big old Marine hugged me, and he said, baby, if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be worth it.
That's right.
So if you can take one thing away, this is going to be hard, but if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be worth it.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Well, that's something that we'll cover too. Is we got orchard grown products. We have homemade crafts. We have home baked stuff. It all looks a little different when you break it down in costs and retail. Because the hardest part for the craft people, the home bakers, you have to compare a little bit about what your competition's doing. Because you obviously don't want to be priced out of the market. But on the same note, you want to keep it where you're making enough money. The hardest part about produce is you're kind of tied to a little bit of market value. So what everyone's selling, now here's the key to that. A lot of people will say, well, I can buy a Walmart watermelon for $5. Why would I spend $10, $15 on this one? Because what they're getting is something far better than you're getting from the mass-produced farm.
Exactly.
The chemicals and everything that they add to them. So that's kind of your selling point. It does kind of tie you a little bit onto how much you can sell and how much you want to ask. But the key is educating your customers, because once they're educated on the product, and once they realize that homegrown product is twice the flavor, and all this stuff, they'll understand that, okay, that's what I'm paying for. And that's what we really are trying to focus on with the farmers market, is not only home-produced products and homemade products, but the local farmer and developing their crops and selling them, because there is a huge difference.
There is.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody grow wheat around here?
Not that I know
I'm
of.
aware of. No one's selling.
Wheat is a hard product to grow in Oklahoma.
In this part of Oklahoma.
In this part, I mean, there are certain areas that you can, but around here, not that I know of. The reason,
Yeah.
the only reason I know is because I have a grain mill and I do all that in all that spare time I've got.
Well, yeah, that's one.
So I was never able to find anything that was local as far as the wheat that we wanted to use.
So I'm going to pass this around. It's just a handout. This is a copy of the stuff that's online. So I'll give you this. It doesn't calculate it for you because it's paper.
And while Shane's handing that out, I'm going to hit on something that I really felt compelled that I wanted to share is your money mentality. A lot of times when you come to a farmer's market, your mentality is that you just want to make enough. Oh, I just want to make enough to get by. I just want to make enough to do this. I just want to make enough to go on vacation. You know, if that's your mentality, that's as far as your business will ever grow.
I got it available. I didn't know how many to bring.
Sure, that's fine.
Don't ever be
I'll look it
afraid
up online.
of making money. And I know that sounds hysterical for me to say, but don't ever be afraid to price your product where it will make a profit for you. There is nothing wrong with making a profit. And you will have people walk through your area because you're at a farmer's market, and they will be rude, and they will say things that are highly uneducated, and it will make you want to throw whatever you make at them. I promise. I've had it happen. I have never thrown a bar of soap at anybody. I cross my heart. I promise. But there have been times where they're like...
Customer anyways?
No, not a customer. No, I've maybe thrown one at one of my kids, but never a customer. I had somebody make the statement that Shane had said, well, why would I want to buy this when I can go to Walmart and get 6 bars of Irish Spring for $1.50? When you have a customer come through like that, you take a deep breath, you smile, and those are the people that you have 2 choices. You can explain to them why my product is worth $6 to $7 a bar, or I can realize they're not my customer base. That will be one of the scariest things that you have to make a decision on when people come through your area, is knowing who is and who is not your customer base.
Because you will get a lot of lookers. You get a lot of people at the markets that come in and look at items, and they may or may not. One thing out of all these years that I've noticed is that consistency is your best friend, especially out of market. And as you move forward, your quality control, your consistency of product, your consistency of being there, because we've had people come out and set up for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then never come back because they didn't sell anything. Well, some of their items may be more of an impulse purchase. They may be something that's like, oh, I like that, I'll come back. And it might be 3 to 4 weeks before they come back to get it. But then they can start making that sales once they know where to find you. And that's when we'll get into retail locations.
Yeah.
Once they know where to find you, then that's how you start driving your business. That's how you start driving your sales, and you start getting your followers.
Your attitude is going to drive your bank account. Would you rather have a salary of $50,000 or $5,000? I'd rather have more than $50,000, but I mean, in today's market. But I mean, which would you rather have? Would you rather have a $5,000 salary, or would you rather have a $50,000 salary? Well, I can tell you what will absolutely kick that in the rear end for you, and that's when that pays your bills. My mentality changed completely when he said he put his notice in. Now, we had been growing, and we had been making money, and we had been fine. But it was not a driving force for me until until that was what put food in my child's mouth. At that point, it became serious. And I know that sounds hysterical because it's only been 3 or 4 months, and people are like, well, you're in all these stores and you're in all this, you're doing all these big things. But my mentality was still, this is just something I do on the side. Bart's salary paid the bills. This is just what I did to help pay for the homeschool curriculum, or, to pay off our debt. That was what it was. It wasn't life or death. It didn't hang on my soap business. So I want you to just think about that. Your attitude is going to drive your bank account. Look at what you do as a legitimate business, because ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what it is a legitimate business. I have some friends that do, and I'm not closely acquainted with them. So when I say friends, it's just kind of a friends in a market sense. 6th Day Snacks. They do some amazing hummus. They do some great products that I happen to love. And the only reason I became familiar with them is because my products used to be at Farm Hippie. And that was how I got in conjunction and knowing them and eating their products. These people are all over. They get in their car, they take their kids, they go to Colorado, they go to all these different events and these venues. They have multiple farmers markets that they attend. They divide and conquer. They've got, one of them will be in Broken Arrow, one of them will be on Cherry Street, and one of them will be somewhere else. Their attitude drives their bank account. That's what they do. Their vehicle they drive says 6 Day Snacks all over it. They are a walking billboard. So I want you to think about that as we go throughout the rest of the evening, as you start making plans, because I really hope that's what this does for y'all, is gives you guys the drive and the excitement to start sitting down and making some business plans. I can tell you, as an artisan, the business side of things is probably my least favorite, but I know that if I don't have a business mind about things, my business is going to go under.
But the thing about it is when you guys begin to create your stuff, your cookies and your jams and all your decorations, and as you guys grow your orchard and all the things you get into in your candies, you're going to have that passion for that item, and that passion relates to the item you're making, and it relates to when you sell it to someone else, because they're going to see your passion in it, and that increases the value of what that is.
Absolutely.
So,
and you have to make that decision every single morning. If you only work your business part-time, that's all your business will be, is part-time. If you get up every morning and you have your coffee and you get up and this is what you're going to do for the day, and this is what you do every day, Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday, however you set your hours, then you're going to be successful. Success is determined by many different factors. I felt like I was successful the first time I sold a bar of soap. I was like, yes, I sold a bar of soap. Oh my gosh. And then I was like, really? I sold a bar of soap?
Well, and that's one of the things as well. Not only, if you make it your primary focus, but as you begin or as you start in the business, everyone's going to be part-time. You're going to be doing it part-time. You're going to be doing it here and there. You're going to be doing it in your free time because you're working another job or doing whatever, trying to make ends meet. But you keep that same passion. You keep those same goals in mind of where you want to be, because, for some people, a farmer's market may be the pinnacle of what they want to achieve.
That may be as high as you want to go, and that's okay.
And that's good. If you want to be in a business, there's farms or places like Farm Hippie. For those of you who don't know, Farm Hippie is probably one of the coolest business ideas I've seen in a long time. On their end, it's really good because they rent space, a retail location for you to bring your stuff in. It's in Collinsville. It's right about 5-6 miles away from here.
Yeah, not too bad.
It's one of the neatest business ideas, because what they do is they bring in, it's a farmer's market indoors.
It's like an indoor farmer's market.
You were in there, how much did it cost at the time?
I was paying around $75 a month and then a percentage.
So you pay that much, and then they're selling your product, they're running the credit cards, they pay you out every so often.
And you just fill your area.
Yeah.
And it was a great beginning. It was a great place to be. It really was. We grew to the point where we could not keep them stocked. I was so busy that I couldn't get off the hill to get to Collinsville to fill my shelves. So we finally had to make the decision after about 2 years that we were going to have to pull out of there, because it wasn't fair to the store owners. Because then they would have empty spots, while full shelves sell.
And you're also looking at a program where, when you're beginning out and you're setting product in and you're developing your base of customers from locations like this, and there's more than just Farm Hippie, that's just the one that I know the best. I know Ash and what's his wife's name?
Carrie Beth.
Yeah,
I had
that's
to
right.
think about it.
Yeah,
Gosh.
the great people, and it's a really cool shop. If you haven't been, I highly recommend you guys stopping in and just checking it out. But there's going to become a time where, as you grow and as you develop your base, you're going to want to not pay to be in a shop.
Right.
Now, for my deal, I don't pay, no one pays me, well, no one pays me other than my boss, but no one pays to come into one of our convenience stores. They do have incentives, they have wholesale costs that they charge us. I decide based on their value and the quality of product. When I'm looking for a new product to put in, it depends on several factors, and these are something that you want to, as you continue to expand, you'll want to start focusing on your wholesale cost, how much you're willing to sell it to a retailer, because the wholesale cost is not full retail.
No.
Because we won't buy it full retail, because we have to make money on our end as well. And what we do is, when I'm looking at a product, I look at, is it going to be available on a regular basis? Are we going to have shortages? Are we going to have outages? We got to make sure capacity as something that we can sustain. What's our price point? Is the price point out of range for retail locations? Because retail, we're really tied to our competition. In a retail store, I can't sell something that somebody else is selling for half the price. It's not going to move. So on that end, and as we go into the new law that's really going to start affecting everybody who chooses to get into retail, that is one area you'll really want to factor in. So that's why I brought these out and I made these worksheets. It's really important. So everyone knows what gross profit is, right? Gross profit? Gross profit is just what you make, your cost minus your retail, that's your gross profit. So your margin is a percentage. So it's you take whatever you made, your gross profit divided by your retail equals your gross margin. It's expressed in a percentage. So typically speaking, at a retail location, we're anywhere from 20 being the absolute lowest, and that's usually on alcohol, to 60% margin is what we have to make in order to bring a product in.
When we price our products for wholesale, I price them at 50% below what our MSRP is. And that's your manufacturer's suggested pricing.
Right.
And then that way I do that so that I can ensure that my retailers that carry our product have just as much an opportunity to make a profit as I do. Because if they're not making a profit, I'm not going to make a profit.
Right.
And that was how, and we didn't start out that way. I had 2 different levels. I started out at a 40% tier and a 50% tier, where if somebody ordered X amount of wholesale product, they got 50% off the MSRP. And if they didn't, they got the 40%. That became very confusing to a lot of my retailers. As we got more and more of them, it was just better for me to say, we have a minimum order, which I made sure my minimum order was way below my competition's minimum order. And then they got the 50%. And we also do an initial purchase incentive as well with our retailers. If they order over $350 in their first order, we give them an additional 10% off. So on that initial order, they actually have the opportunity to make 60% back on what they do.
And that in the retail location, that's an outstanding margin. 60% is gold for us. If the item's selling and the product is worth it, a 60% margin is awesome. Now, let me ask you this, and we'll kind of go through this. And I realize I don't know if you have your costs broke down. And give me estimates if you don't want to reveal it. I understand that.
How good I can remember.
Okay, what does a bar of soap cost you?
Cost me to make?
Yeah, just the product.
Just the product.
Just the product.
Okay, so depends on which bar soap.
Okay. Pick a cheap one.
Let's do Bear.
Okay.
Our Bear soap. Our Bear soap is literally
Also
better
being
than
featured in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. It's going to be a prop. It may be like a little white speck in the background that they zoom right past, but by golly, it's going to be in there. So what I do when I sit down is, and I'll tell you, it just changed. So that's why I'm kind of like, because we just ordered barrels of oil to drop our bottom line again. So it is a $6.50 bar of soap. That's what I retail it at. When you come to the farmer's market and you want to buy my Bear soap, it's $6.50. Now, it does not cost me $6.50 to make that bar of soap. In that pricing, I break it down into what do I want to make an hour. And it's not just what do I want to make an hour. I have 3 employees. That was another scary step. Two of my girls are young high school age girls that work part-time for me. One of them is a public school girl, one of them is a homeschool girl. Is that better? Okay. And then the other young lady that works for me, she'll be happy that I called her a young lady. Okay. Candace will be happy I called her a young lady because she's close to my age. She's a surgical technician that fell in love with our product. She bought my soap at our very first farmer's market that we had and got hooked and continued to purchase product and continued to purchase product. And when she knew we needed help, she came to me and she said, hey, I want to come and work for you. I said, are you kidding me? She's like, no, I want to come and work for you. I said, how are you going to do that? You work at 2 different surgery centers. She says, oh, I'm ready to quit one. I said, I can't pay you what a surgery center pays you. You are a surgery technician. You save people's lives. I can't pay you what they pay you. And she looked at me dead in the eye and she said, I don't expect you to. I love what you do. I don't love surgery. And I said, oh. So she is my right-hand woman. And so I also have to factor in what I pay my health. So I factor that in. And then I also have to factor in our expenses. We have a 30 by 50 shop on our farm. We were blessed enough that it came with the house when we bought it. And I have a very sweet husband who very generously gave me, in the very beginning, half of that 30 by 50 shop, and now gave me probably another 30% of that shop.
And he only cried.
And he only cried a
for
little.
a little while.
Just
Yeah.
for a little while. We don't talk about that, though,
No.
Shane. So I have to factor in because we have electricity. We have, it's heated and cooled. Thank goodness my husband is a heating and air technician and has been his whole life. So that made it a little bit easier when it came time to climate control that place. So we have to take into account our bills. You know, what is the electricity? We don't have water run out there to it yet, much to the chagrin of Candace. She wants a sink really bad. I want to get her one. So right now we haul everything back into the house to do all the soap dishes. And if we have to use the restroom, that's where we go, as we go to the house. I have looked at an outhouse though. I told Bart, I said, Shane said that was the best thing he ever did.
It is. I use it all the time. If I'm out on the farm working, then that's where I go, because I don't go in the house, so I don't have to.
Yep. So you have to factor those things into the cost of your product, into every product you make.
So when you are pricing your product, you have your soap. Let's say how long does it take you to make up 72 bars of Bear soap?
72 bars of Bear soap. That one might take me about 30 minutes.
Okay, so you're making 72 bars of soap within 30 minutes. So you're factoring in your personnel time, your electric costs, and I'm sure that's probably divided out over the whole time. But really to break down your products and what you're looking at. Bakery, you guys have a lot more. I don't know how many things go into Bear soap, but probably not much, right?
We use apricot kernel, extra virgin olive oil. We use cocoa butter.
Okay, I was wrong.
There's like 4 or 5. We have a 5 butter oil blend type. We have palm oil, coconut oil, and then of course the goat milk and the lye. So
see, and I'm a numbers guy. I retired out of law enforcement after 20 years, and I love facts, figures. I love numbers. That's just my thing. So this job came in real handy for me because I like to break the items down as low as possible to get the actual cost of things. So when I'm looking at something, I take into account every little bit that goes into it. So when you're making a jam or you're making cookies, the egg, the flour, the time to grind it, the product itself, you're taking all those into account. So what's the best way to figure it? And I have a sheet there. You can actually list what it takes. And what I would probably do is break it down by the batch, depending on how much you're making at the time. So you break it down by that batch, and then let's say you can come out with 100 cookies, for example. 100 cookies, your eggs, takes you 4 eggs, that's 40 cents a piece or whatever it is.
divide
your
that
flour, your butter, so you take your total cost of that batch, then divide it by your cookie. So you have 100 cookies, it takes you $5 to make 100 cookies. You break that down, and then you divide it out. You don't have to. It's just me. I just
That's
like
what
to
I
know.
do.
I break it down to how much each cookie costs me.
Absolutely. We
And
go.
always factor in waste.
Yep. We
Because you're
factor
gonna
in the
breakage,
waste.
You're going to have something go bad.
Mhm.
You're going to lose one. Someone might come by and eat one.
Yep.
You might sample them out. But always factor that in to kind of get you an idea, because the key to this is to really know your numbers. The more you know your numbers about your product, the better you are at making that educated decision on what your retail price is going to be.
Right.
Don't rely on your neighbors or someone else at a different farmer's market, because
Yeah.
their costs may be completely out of whack with what you got.
I see that all the time in soaping groups, professional soaping groups that I'm a part of. Somebody will say, well, what do you charge for a 4.5-ounce bar of soap? And they get so angry and so frustrated when someone comes back at them who has a business, a functioning business, and they tell them, listen, what my 4.5-ounce bar of soap costs me to make is not going to be what your 4.5-ounce bar costs you to make. Up to this point, we've not been able to do, we did our business debt-free. And if you can do that, I highly recommend it. We did our business debt-free. And so what I did is I would order the materials as I sold product. That is a difficult way to run a business. You can do it. I did it. I'm here. I'm living proof. But it's hard.
And that comes into scalability too.
Yes.
I mean, you're really limiting yourself when you're
Yes.
having to go into getting certain products at certain times.
So I looked at Bart and I said, we need a credit card for the business, as much as we hate to do that. We needed one. I said, I want one that we can get cash back on, because I order so much in materials that we'd be stupid not to make money back on that too. And we started talking. He's like, hey, I've had this Navy Federal credit card since I joined the Marine Corps. It does exactly that. He just handed it to me. He's like, here you go, babe. And I said, okay, here we go. And I ordered barrels of oil. Now, up to this point, this is our first barrel order today. Like, it got here at 11:30 today. I'm a little bit psyched. Because it drops our bottom line by 15 to almost 17 cents per ounce. And that's how detailed I get. It goes per ounce for me. And I am so excited, because not only does that mean that our product costs less for us to make, it means two different things. It means I can give my girls a raise, because first and foremost, I want to take care of my girls. And then
and Bart.
And Bart, yes, we got to take care of Bart.
Don't want to leave him out.
And we can give ourselves a raise. Now, it's not going to be a huge raise, because I am very passionate about putting a lot of our profit back into the business. I want to be able to pay our bills. I want to be able to live comfortably. Being a single income family, I can tell you what it's like to have to take a calculator into the grocery store and know I better not go over X amount of money for a family of 7.
And that's where really, as you break it down and as you learn, your product, and as you develop your business plan, always have goals set in mind of where
Yes.
you want to be, and forecast what you're going to do. Forecast from home to online sales to markets to where you want to be, where you see yourself ultimately. If this is your full-time deal and this is what you want to do, then forecast where you want to be and set yourself goals, and always try to achieve those goals, because you may not hit all of them in the timeline, but as long as you have that goal, you have something to shoot for.
Right, and if you shoot high and you miss, you'll at least get close.
That's right. So we did talk a little bit about evaluating our competition and setting your worth. I'm sorry, I squirrel a lot.
I do too, so I'm hoping y'all are be able to hang with us.
And like I said, this is the first time, so once we get through this, kind of get a feeling for how long this is going to take and what all we can talk about.
I do a lot of market research.
Yeah.
A lot. It irritates my husband to no end. How am I going to know what I need to be doing?
And not only that, is you're not only looking at what they're doing and for what they've got going, but you're also checking pricing. I price my competition.
Always. That's intelligence.
Yeah, because you always want to know what they're pricing things at. You want to see what they're selling for, so you can kind of get an idea of where you can go.
And make sure that you compare apples to apples. No pun intended. Make sure there's a vendor that comes out here and I cannot compare my pricing to their pricing because they don't make the soap the same way. It takes me 6 weeks to get a bar of soap on my table. So it's like night and day. I can't compare what they do with what I do. Now, we did have a young lady come, and I was so overjoyed that she was not afraid to come and talk to me, because I've had so many soap vendors come and go in different areas, not just out here, but that are scared to come and talk to me. I try to be approachable. I don't think I'm mean or scary looking. Shane won't tell me the truth, so I don't know. But she walked right into our display, which I was like, yeah, come on, girl. She walked right in, shook my hand. Hi, my name is, and I am really bad with names. Simone? Started with an S.
Is it the
McCoy Goat Farm. She has
yes,
Bixby, yes.
Yeah, she was here last weekend.
So she walked right in, shook my hand. Hi, I make goat milk soap. Can I look at your display? Can I ask you some questions? Absolutely. Finally. Somebody who doesn't look like I'm like a one-eyed flying purple people eater. And I had the greatest conversation with this little lady. She has the same kind of goats we do, so I could compare what she charges.
Works versus what yours
Yep.
is.
So it's apples and apples, and I can tell you that I'm actually less.
Well, and
Scalability.
And that's one thing is really want to pay attention to is don't be afraid to go reach out and talk to the people.
Oh,
talk to the
please
competition.
don't. Please go and talk to
You
people.
will get jerks that will not talk to you.
You will.
That's just a matter of fact. And you know what? Don't even worry about them.
They're not the ones that you want to talk to.
If they're not willing to help somebody else out in the same business, then they're not going to be there for you. They're not going to do anything
Right.
to benefit you. It's not worth dealing with. There are enough people within the business community, in the communities for which you guys will serve, that are willing to talk to you and help you through these and give you ideas and give you pointers on where to find stuff. Don't get disheartened because one person doesn't do that.
She was floored that I spoke to her. She said, I was scared to death to walk in here. I do this so much that I don't look at it as being intimidating. We set up our display, and I don't think anything about it. She walked in and she said, this is really intimidating. I said, really? I said, well, most of it I bought at the Dollar Tree. It doesn't have to be intimidating. I was able to encourage her. And I tell you, if you can't encourage the people around you, then why are you doing what you're doing?
Exactly. And guys, I want to go over real quick with the House Bill 1032. This is going to come into effect in November 1st of this year. This is our food freedom bill, and then I'll give it back over to her because she's got more to talk about brand management, IDs, stuff like that.
We'll get into the good, meat and potatoes.
Stuff. Yeah, the part that she's better at, then I'll just walk away.
No, you won't.
So,
You're stuck here.
I live here, so.
I know, you can't go.
American Homestead.